Welcome everyone to Conversations Aloud. Today we're discussing the so-called ceasefire between Israel and Iran. And I want to just explain to you, we're going to discuss, who actually won this, who failed in this war. But if I wanted to summarize the Israel-Iran war with quotes from Trump, I would show you what Trump said at the beginning of the war, how it started, unconditional surrender from Iran, and then how it ended. Israel, do not drop those bombs. If you do, it's a major violation. Bring your pilots home now. Donald J. Trump. I thought it was unconditional surrender. It turned out to be Trump stopping Israel from bombing Iran and being angry at Israel. Now, what was Israel's objectives in attacking Iran? There was 4 objectives that they stated, which they failed in all of them. One was to destroy the nuclear facilities of Iran. Number 2 is to destroy the ballistic missile capability of Iran. Number 3 is to do regime change in Iran. And number 4 is to kill Khamenei, the Ayatollah supreme leader in Iran. They failed in each and every single one of them. Let's go backwards. They didn't kill Khamenei because they couldn't get to him. They tried. They kept on saying, most of the politicians were saying we need to kill him, but they couldn't. And number 3 was regime change. They really thought that if they killed the leadership in Iran through those planned attacks and killing the scientists in Iran, with their families, by the way, and children, that's what they did, that the people will revolt because they thought that the people of Iran wanted a foreign government to come and destroy the country and destroy the government. That's not what the people wanted. There's a lot of people sure might not be happy with the government, but they didn't want the US and Israel to be bombing them and killing hundreds of civilians to push this regime change up their throat, down their throats. Number 2 was to destroy Iran's ballistic missile capability. Well, day 12, Iran was still shooting missiles down Israel. We were told that they destroyed all the launchers and they don't have much weapons to penetrate the defense systems of Israel. No Israeli thought on day 12 there would be missiles falling on Israel. That was a complete failure from the intelligence agency in Israel. They failed on thinking that there's going to be a regime change in Iran if they just toppled the leadership, and that Iran doesn't have that capability to strike Israel if they are attacked. And of course, the first one is to destroy Iran's nuclear capabilities. Well, I've got news for you. They did not destroy Iran's nuclear facilities. In fact, they did something much worse. Now, first of all, we have to say that in all assessments, and even CNN now has confirmed that they didn't destroy the Fordow facilities. It seems like they just slightly damaged it and it could be easily repaired. This is exclusive CNN report. Early U.S. intel assessment, so there was actually a leak from the U.S. intelligence, suggests that strikes on Iran did not destroy nuclear sites. The U.S. military strikes on 3 of Iran's nuclear facilities last weekend did not destroy the core components of the country's nuclear program, and likely only set it back by months. All the charade is just a few months. They're saying maximum 6 months, minimum 1 month. This is according to early U.S. intelligence assessment that was described by 7 people briefed on it. This assessment was produced by the Defense Intelligence Agency, which is the Pentagon's intelligence arm. 2 of the people familiar with the assessment said that Iran's stockpile of enriched uranium was not destroyed. One of the people said the centrifuges are largely intact, and another source said the U.S. intelligence assessed enriched uranium was moved out of the sites prior to the U.S. strikes. So not only did they not destroy Iran's nuclear facilities, they, one, cannot destroy it because it's so deep under. They don't actually have the bombs to do so. Remember, they dropped more than 12 of one of their biggest bombs on this site, and it still didn't penetrate enough to destroy the nuclear facilities. But now it pushed all Iran's nuclear activities underground. What I mean by that is that Iran isn't going to let the atomic agency in anymore because it realized that it was giving information to intelligence agencies about who the researchers are, who is in the scientific community that was helping Iran build its nuclear capabilities, which was then used to kill those people. Iran lost a lot of scientists that were killed by Israel, the scientists and their families. This was part of Israel's attempt to remove Iran's nuclear capabilities, but that knowledge is not lost, and the facilities are not destroyed, and the centrifuges are there and intact And they still don't know where that 400 kilograms of that 60% enriched uranium is. So now Iran's going to restart the nuclear capability, nuclear activities, but without Atomic Agency inspection, which was the case before. The Atomic Agency inspectors were on the ground, ensuring that they were in line with the non-proliferation agreement, which Iran, to the most part, 99% of the time, was adhering to every single part of it. It's only in the last few months that when they saw that there was no diplomacy, there was no agreement to be made with the U.S., that they pushed this to the limits. But obviously, till now, I must repeat that the U.S. intelligence and other intelligence agencies, including the Atomic Agency, do say that Iran is not pursuing a nuclear bomb. All that evidence was based on Mossad, the Israeli intelligence, which was feeding this information to Trump and other U.S. government officials. Now, people briefed with that intelligence from the U.S. intelligence, congressmen and senators have confirmed that there is no evidence that Iran is building a nuclear bomb or has a nuclear weapons program. That was all bull, which of course they've done with Iraq. We know how they did that. At least with Iraq, they tried to convince people by providing fake evidence as, this is where the weapons of mass destruction were. With Iran, they didn't even try. They just said, we have evidence, and they didn't even show us anything because there's no evidence of that, because Iran was not building a nuclear weapon. But now there is no visibility anymore about what Iran is doing. And other reports have confirmed that Iran has nuclear facilities underground that are not any of the ones that were bombed by the US or Israel. So this is pushing Iran even further into carrying out nuclear activities underground. They tried to sit down and negotiate with the US and made every concession pretty much that US wanted, except zero uranium enrichment, i.e. US wanted to be there to be no nuclear activity at all, even for civilian use, which Iran rejected, of course. And what was the reaction of the US to Iran's concessions? Allowing Israel to kill the lead negotiator. And when Iran said, we're not going to negotiate with the US anymore because they bad faith actors, let's negotiate with the Europeans, what was the reaction of the US? To bomb Iran. Now, if you're Iranian and you had a positive outlook of the West, I wonder, after everything that the West has done now, whether you will chant, "We love you, America," or whether you will chant, "Death to America." I wonder what Iranians are going to do and think and react to these bombings by Israel and Iran. So, going back to Israel, Israel failed in all its stated objectives. Now, what Israel did achieve was it really hurt Iran, and it killed a lot of its scientific community and a lot of the government officials, but it also killed a lot of civilians. It's estimated that nearly 500 civilians were killed, including thousands of injured. They did hit hospitals, they did hit universities, they did hit the police and try to create civil unrest so people can rise. And well, according to them, people will rise. And Iran did fail in defending the country from these air attacks that were happening. Obviously, for Iran, this was a surprise attack. They didn't know it was coming. That was a failure. Number two, a lot of its infrastructure was destroyed by Israel, which is terrible for the Iranians. Number three, a lot of its first level and second level commanders were killed during this. But all of this is easily replaced and repaired. What Iran majorly failed in was the air defense systems. And what happened was that they had people on the ground, Israel had people on the ground destroy these air defense systems, to the most part, not all of them, which resulted in these airplanes coming to the edge of Iran. By the way, Israel didn't have air superiority, as was said. They weren't flying their airplanes across all of Iran. They were coming to the border between Iran and Iraq for the most part, and then shooting their missiles from that distance. And only a couple times did they really venture into Iran properly. But Iran can fix this very easily by getting into an agreement with Russia for Russia to supply these defense systems, which Iran will do 100% now. It actually rejected that before, but it will do that now. Now, what did Iran achieve? Well, it achieved something that no one expected, which that it has the missile capability to infiltrate and penetrate Israel's defense system. Not only Israel's defense system. Remember, when Iran was shooting these bombs across to Israel, they were going through Jordan's airspace, and Jordan was trying to bring them down. They were going through getting near to Israel, and there were battleships from the Britain and the US trying to bring those missiles down. Then they were going through the Arrow defense system, trying to shoot it down. And then there was David's sling system trying to shoot it down. And there was the THAAD system trying to bring that missile down. And it still penetrated that system before even depleting or having the idea of depleting these missiles that Israel uses to defend itself, i.e. the missiles were ineffective. The systems were not as effective as once thought. Now, of course, it did intercept a lot of Iran's older missile system, the 20-year-old, 30-year-old missiles that they were throwing, trying to deplete the system and overwhelm it. But the newer bombs that Iran was throwing couldn't be intercepted properly. Now, Iran hit a lot of areas that Israel's not really talking about because of this media blackout that they have in Israel, but this will all come out. They hit the IDF headquarters, the Ministry of Defense, intelligence units in Israel. They hit the Weizmann Institute, which for the most part is a proper research center that actually helped a lot of people in Israel through cancer and things, but also it had a department that was connected to the IDF, and it's a fact. It hit the oil refinery in Haifa. It hit the air bases, energy infrastructure, but everything that was actually being let out from Israel is the damage to the civilian and residential buildings, which there were damage to those things. But Israel was not allowing any journalist to say anything about the military targets, this media blackout. But this will have to come out to the people very soon. I think Iran's biggest achievement was actually bringing down Bibi Netanyahu. And this will bring Bibi Netanyahu because Bibi Netanyahu is the hardliner that always talked about Israel's security and putting emphasis on Israel's security. And that's why Israel had to do X, Y, Z, because to ensure Israel's security, he failed on 7 October. And Israel's idea that nothing can intercept, nothing can penetrate their defense system is gone, as shown by Iran. Which means that next time Israel is thinking of attacking Iran, there's a bit of a deterrence there because they will be attacked too. I must say this whole Israel and Iran war was a proper 12-day war. But the whole Iran and US war, to me, is a theater. Because it just feels like, the US surely knew that these bombs that they were dropping on Iran weren't going to do much. They surely knew that Iran had other nuclear facilities that are also deep underground, that are unknown. And it seems like Iran got everything out of those nuclear facilities that the US bombed. Either they knew of the attack or the US told them that they were going to attack there. And then Iran responded by attacking a empty base in Qatar. Yes, sure, it's the biggest base that the US has in the Gulf. But Iran told the US before bombing them. And even Trump confirmed that in his post. He actually thanked Iran following their bombing of US assets. I just want to be clear on this. The US president thanked Iran after Iran bombed a US base. Let me show you the post. So this is Donald Trump's reaction. Iran has officially responded to our obliteration of their nuclear facilities, which now assessments are saying they didn't obliterate it, with a very weak response, which we expected and have very effectively countered. There have been 14 missiles fired, 13 were knocked down, and 1 was set free. They allowed it to fly because it was headed in a non-threatening direction. I'm pleased to report that no Americans were harmed and hardly any damage was done. Most importantly, they've gotten it all out of their system, and there will hopefully be no further hate. I want to thank Iran for giving us early notice, which made it possible for no life to be lost and nobody to be injured. Perhaps Iran can now proceed to peace and harmony in the region, and I will enthusiastically encourage Israel to do the same. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, lastly, I want to say that, of course, I don't agree with everything that the Iranian government does, which, by the way, it is a democracy, and there are women in parliament in Iran. But there's this idea in the West that if we want to improve Iran's women's rights and move them to the Western world, we should bomb them. We should bomb the women. It's like, what? What world do you come from to think that to free Iran, we need to bomb Iran? The past couple of weeks, there's this kind of psychological operation being carried out to show that all the Iranians in Iran want to be freed from their government. And the way to do that is through allowing Israel and the US to bomb them. It's a ridiculous thing that we saw the same thing in Iraq with. They're brainwashing people to show them that the Iranians want the bombing to happen. They want the destruction to happen all around them. And which, by the way, even if you change the government, as we have seen numerous times, if the change comes from outside, it's very, very, very likely to result in a civil war, as happened in Libya, Syria, Afghanistan, Iraq. It happens all the time, especially when you arm marginalized groups, and there are marginalized groups in Iran, when you arm them, when a foreign force arms them to instigate this civil war, which will end up destabilizing and weakening the country. Change needs to come from within. And what Israel did actually pushed change further away, because now all the hardliners are saying, see, we told you we want to move away from the West because they're dangerous and they threaten our way and they threaten our lives. And just our way, our lives, as they have done the past couple of weeks. But people don't understand the situation in Iran because the media is terrible at, well, they're not terrible, they're great at brainwashing you. Sure, there's a lot of things that need to change in Iran that Iranians want themselves, when it comes to women's rights and things like that. However, talking about women's rights in Iran, 70% of students in technology, science, and medicine are women. Much higher. That's a much higher percentage than the Western world. They have better healthcare in Iran. They have better maternity rights, mothers do, than the US even. 50% of doctors and dentists in Iran are women. There's a big women participation in the public life and private life, of course. They're even in parliament and the government in Iran. Obviously, they're underrepresented, but they're still there. They have about 17, which is about 6% of the parliament members. Now, there's a lot of things that Iranian women want and are fighting for, and they're electing more reformist central presidents and governments. But the idea that to save them, to help them, we need to bomb them and force a government upon them, creating civil unrest, killing thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, is a crazy notion that we have here in the West. And you'd think we would have learned from previous attempts of doing that in Iraq and Libya and Syria, that we haven't. If you did like this video, then do hit the like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on our next episode. Thank you very much.